Hello friends! In our last tutorial, we used mail merge to print multiple envelopes in Microsoft Word from data stored in an Excel file. Today we're going to use mail merge to insert names and addresses into letters in Microsoft Word, also from data stored in an Excel file. First, we'll prepare the Excel file. Then we'll add the names and addresses to the letters using Word's mail merge. Next, we'll customize the name and address formatting. Finally, we'll print the letters. Plus, the bonus section at the end explains how to save mail merge letters for reuse. I'll be using Word for Microsoft 365. These steps also apply to Word for Mac and the recent non-subscription versions of the software. These steps don't apply to Word for the web or Word for mobile. To begin, open your Excel file and confirm that each piece of information is in its own column in the worksheet. Then, confirm that the first row contains column headers such as first name, last name, street address, city, state, and zip code. Next, select and remove any blank rows. Finally, save and close the Excel file. Now, open your letter in Microsoft Word and then select the Mailings tab in the ribbon. From there, select Start Mail Merge, followed by Letters from the drop-down menu. Next, select Recipients and choose Use an existing list from the drop-down menu. When the Select Data Source dialog box appears, locate and select the Excel file, and select the Open button. If the Select Table dialog box appears, choose the worksheet containing your recipients. Note that if your Excel file only has one worksheet, this dialog box may not appear. After choosing your worksheet, select the OK button. PC users can now select Edit Recipient List. Mac users will notice that this option is unavailable or grayed out when merging with an Excel file. However, you can edit your recipient list by manually deleting unwanted recipients from your Excel file. If you're on a PC, uncheck any recipients you want to exclude in the Mail Merge Recipients dialog box. If this is your first time printing mail merge letters, strongly consider selecting only a few recipients for a test run before printing a large batch. Lastly, select the OK button. To insert the name in the greeting, begin by placing your cursor above the body of the letter. At this point, PC users may notice the greeting line option. This option is not recommended because it can introduce inconsistent spacing and formatting. Instead, PC and Mac users should type the beginning of the greeting, such as Dear, and then press the space bar to insert one space. Next, select the Insert Merge Field menu arrow and select the first name field. If you want to include the full name, press the spacebar to insert one space, reselect the Insert Merge Field menu arrow, and select Last Name. Then, type any necessary punctuation that will end the greeting, such as a comma. Now place your cursor in the letter where you want to insert the recipient's address. PC users may notice the address block option. Like the greeting line option, this option is not recommended because it can introduce inconsistent spacing and formatting. Instead, PC and Mac users should insert the individual address fields by selecting the Insert Merge Field menu arrow, and then selecting the individual fields you want to include, such as first name, last name, street address, city, state, and zip code. Note that fields that don't apply to every recipient, such as P.O. boxes, won't create blank lines if those cells are empty in the Excel spreadsheet. Next, place your cursor between the fields and press the Enter key on a PC or Return key on a Mac to move the fields to the next line as necessary. Then insert a space between the first name and last name, a comma and space between the city and state, and a space between the state and zip code. Those outside of the United States should make adjustments for their local mailing standards. You can now select Preview Results to see how the name and address fields will look when populated with a recipient from the Excel file. When you're finished, reselect Preview Results to return to the field view. You can customize the name and address fields formatting independently from the rest of the letter, including the line spacing, font, and size. For example, if you want to remove the extra line spacing in the address, select all the address fields. And then right-click one of the fields on a PC or Control-click one of the fields on a Mac, and then select Paragraph from the shortcut menu. When the Paragraph dialog box appears, check Don't Add Space between paragraphs of the same style, and then select the OK button. The extra line spacing should now be removed. To change the font or font size, select the name fields, and then right-click or Control-click one of the fields, and select Font from the shortcut menu. When the font dialog box appears, you can choose your preferred font and size. I'm not going to make any changes today because I want my fields to match the rest of my letter. After making your changes, select the OK button. If you want to change the font or size for the address fields, you can repeat the same process of right-clicking or Control-clicking one of the selected fields, and then selecting Font from the shortcut menu. When you're ready to print your letters, select Finish and Merge, followed by Print Documents from the drop-down menu. Then select the OK button in the Merge to Printer dialog box, and the OK button in the Print dialog box. Your letters should now print with the names and addresses from your Excel file. You can save the mail merge letters you just created for reuse in the future. However, it's important to note that this process will only work if the Excel file remains in the same storage location under the same name. The mail merge will break if the Excel file is moved or renamed. To begin, press Ctrl+S on a PC or Command+S on a Mac to launch the Save This File dialog box, or use your preferred interface method to save. Next, select the location and enter a file name, and select the Save button. When you reopen the file, PC users will see a dialog box stating that the document will run a SQL command. This is the link to the Excel file. Mac users will see a similar dialog box, along with a second asking for permission to open the Excel file. Select the Yes button, and then select the Mailings tab. If you're on a PC, you can reselect Edit Recipient List to add or remove recipients, as we did just a few moments ago. Finally, select Finish and Merge to print the letters as we did in the previous section. And of course, remember to save your file if you made any changes to your mail merge letter. All the steps we just performed are listed on my website at erinwritewriting.com, which is linked in the description box below, along with my complete playlists, how to use Microsoft Word and how to use Word for Mac. If you found today's tutorial helpful, please leave me a comment with any other Microsoft Word topics you'd like me to cover in the future. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss upcoming videos, and of course I'd appreciate a big thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching.